Good evening and welcome to the Trading the Tech show for iLi Academy. My name is Derek and today is Wednesday, November 11th, 2020. So today was a bit of a slower day in the market, just due to the fact that there was the holiday today, both in the United States and also in Canada. It was Remembrance Day in the United States. So it's a bank holiday, so not a whole lot just going on. I think a lot of people just were off today. So um, I think towards the end of the day, it just got to be very slow by about 12 o'clock or so. It got to be very slow. So, um, we didn't have a whole lot going on, today, but I think this week has been quite good for us. So we've been actually getting some real movement in the forex market. We've getting some movement across the pairs and able to get some nice trades, closed out, and we did all right. Um, so maybe tomorrow will be a little bit different. I'd imagine that tomorrow's probably going to be just a little bit busier for us. Um, the Dow, right now the Dow sits at minus 25 for the futures. So it's not down quite even 100 yet. So I'd imagine that that could very well change by tomorrow morning. We might be looking at a different scenario as far as what the futures look like. But right now, all of them across the board are down. The S&P 500 futures is down like 3.75. Right now, the Dow's down like 23. The NASDAQ futures are down 34 and a quarter. The Russell 2000 are down 3.9. So everybody's down just a tiny bit. So like I said, it's still early in the game for that. It could actually change quite a bit before in the morning, but it's just telling us right now that traders are a little bit negative on the market for just for now anyway. So um, so we're gonna see what occurs. We're gonna see what occurs because we got a lot on the horizon here, especially we've got challenges to the election. We've got some new um, information as far as the vaccine for COVID-19, and there's some expectation about that. Um, so we'll see what occurs there. So we've been getting some rallies, even in the dollar. So we're going to take a look at some of this right now in our charts and just see kind of where we stand and see what kind of opportunities we have for trading going forward here. So here is our US dollar CAD. The US dollar CAD has been rising. You can see this movement here that we've been having, kind of on this trajectory here. It's just kind of a rough line, nothing, oops. Let me go ahead and draw it again here. Let's see. That's just generally kind of what we see right now. That's not, anything super accurate or anything like that. It's just generally what we see, right? Is just kind of this movement. So we're getting higher lows and then some higher highs, right? So if you move this up to the highs, we're kind of getting a nice move up. Let's go ahead and put this. You can see that we're getting higher highs as well. So we're just closing up to you know, up to the upside. But what I see is that we're still underneath our 720. And we've jumped over our 200. We've jumped over the 100, the 50, as far as, the rate goes. But we're still underneath the 720. So I respect that. So the opportunity here would be on this pullback against trend is to place our maybe our short order maybe here on the 50 and the 200 in that area, or down here on the 100 moving average area. So this is somewhere right around the 130.50s, 130, 36 areas is where we would be when we're placing these orders short. Now, of course, the rate looks like it's going the opposite direction, of course, right now. But that's good because that means that it could go up here and actually even test the 720. We don't know. If it really is serious about going up, then maybe we don't get placed into this order, the short order. Especially if we're conservative, maybe it's not going to jump back over this 200 and go down deep enough to put our order in to catch us up, in that order. So as it moves to the upside, then we can adjust, our orders if we need to. We can improve the price if we need to improve the price as well. So we'll see as we go forward what happens with the US dollar CAD, but right now it has a little bit of steam to the upside. The US dollar Swiss, it's a little bit different story because the rate is now still above our 720. All of the moving averages are above the 720. We've got a nice pullback going here already. We've pulled back past our 50 at this point in time. So if I was to place an order here, a pending order, I place my pending order here on my 21 moving average. That's really the only place I can place it right now. I don't really want to place it right here on the 50. I guess I probably could do that, but it's so close that it probably just, enter the order right away. I want to see, before I place the order on the 50, I want to see it get down here closer to the 100 first, before I would, place my order for on the 50 moving average. So even the 21 is a little bit close, depending on how conservative you want to be. If you wanted this to pull back just a little bit further past the 50, then that's quite all right. But it is heading in the right direction as far as pulling back. And being above the 720, our expectation that is may resume this upward trend that we're in here. So we've got a full mature trend here. So that's definitely a good sign and a good idea that it may continue to go forward. Now, the US dollar yen is kind of has kind of the same look as far as the chart goes, as far as the moving averages and where we are in relation to it. However, the rate is much closer to our 100 moving average, right? We're above our 720, but our rate is closer to our 100. So we could actually drop our order here on this 50. The value of the 50 right now is about 105.37 or so. So you see it dipping down just a little bit here. So we could place our order there or on this 21, just depending on how conservative you want to be to buy, right? And so if the market is serious about going forward, then it will come up to this 105.37 area and then put us in the order. So it'd have to move in that direction in order for it to place us in the order, which is what we want. We want that momentum to be on our side. All right, good. But this is great. This is what we're looking for on the US dollar Swiss. We just don't have that deep a pullback just yet. But this is what that would be looking like, right? Let's go over here to the New Zealand's. These are going to be very, very similar to what we discussed last night, because I think we're just getting today was so slow that it was just, a continuation of the trends. And typically we haven't gotten really big pullbacks today. So the New Zealand CAD is trading above our 720. We have a full mature trend to the upside because all the moving averages are in order to the upside, correct? And then we've got our rate above the 720. So as this pulls back, maybe past our 50 here in blue or our 100 here in yellow, as this pulls back, then we will have opportunities to buy. But right now we don't have an opportunity really to buy. We're not even pulling away from our 50. I always talk about like this kind of action here. We typically trade back to the 50. Once this kind of exhausts, but we didn't even go back to the 50 here. So we just kind of kept on to the upside. And I just think that's because of the holiday. We just didn't have enough movement in the market to really, to push it one way or another today. But now, that it's a new trading day, we're probably going to be able to see that action occur. Now, as far as the New Zealand Swiss, same thing. We've got a nice mature trend to the upside. This trend has been in, wow, since November 9th or so. So it's been in for a few days now. And then it's getting wider. It's kind of, looks very good, right? Our rate has stayed up here pretty much above at least the 21. And then, even outside of the 8 for much of the time. So we haven't shown the signs yet that we're really ready to do a deep pullback. So we'll just have to wait until it pulls back on this particular one before we can buy on those levels. The New Zealand yen, the same exact thing, right? We have all the same exact, parameters for our analysis. We're above our 720 and our moving averages are wide, are widening, and they're showing that this trend is still in place. And we're just waiting for pullbacks to our 50 here in blue or our yellow 100. Any deeper than that, then we can readjust, but we can, place our orders then. New Zealand US, same thing, right? Same exact scenario. It's the same exact analysis. So as you can see, the stochastic has been here above our 80 point for quite some time. It got above the 80 point back here November 5th, and it just kind of hugged the ceiling, really. It just kind of kept along, this trajectory here above 80 every since then. It hasn't even dipped down below 80 at all. So, this has been a steady, nice trend to the upside here, right? If you're a longer term trader, you may be in trades that are, have benefited from that long move, but you could be in trades for 3 or 4, 5 days. If you catch the trend, you can actually be in the trade for quite some time. So, that's a good thing for you because it's just going to steadily be making money for you as it goes. And then eventually, when it calms down, then it'll eventually hit its stop loss. That's kind of the way the system's designed. Pound Aussie. Let's look at the pound and see what we got going on here. So now the pound is trading below our 720 now. Yesterday was a little bit kind of, just volatile. You can see just the whipsawing back and forth. It kind of created the high here. And then we have our low here, this dotted line, right? So you can just see the whipsawing back and forth because we hit the high twice and we've definitely been around the low a couple of times as well. About 3 times we've been at this low. So it's definitely just been, kind of a wild seesaw ride back and forth here with these pound Aussie. Right now, we're trading below this the 720. The moving averages, are trying to get back in order to the downside. I think the 21 and the 50 are in order to the downside, but then our 100 and our 200 are not. So our opportunity would have been to place our order here on one of these moving averages when we were pushing back towards this 720 or so. It would have been to place a short trade maybe on this 50, maybe on the 100, or conservatively on the 200 itself, a short. So right now we should be entering those trades. Now we do have some green candles going on. So if it does push higher again, then we may look at, once again, being able to drop our order on these moving averages. They're pretty close together here. So, you can make your choice on how conservative you want to be if the moving averages comes up here and jumps above this 50. But maybe the rate, not the moving average, but the rate jumps above this 50, but it's just hanging out below our 720, then we may want to go ahead and short on one of these moving average levels. Pound CAD, a little bit different scenario. The pound, all of the moving averages are above our 720, so we have a mature trend to the upside here. And then we didn't get as much whipsawing back and forth. We got some volatility in the pair yesterday. Yesterday's trading day, which technically really is today still for us. We still got that volatility there. However, it didn't whipsaw as much as the pound Aussie did. But right now it's just trading in a small range. It's above our 720. Our idea, right, would have been to buy on this 50 because we came down here and touched the 100 already. So any pullbacks below these levels, that's what we're looking for in order to place a buy on the 50 or the 100. Pound Swiss, we have, it's kind of the same scenario. We're above our 720, the rate's above 720. And then we've got this pullback going on now. We passed the 50 already. So we're nearing, maybe the midpoint. We're nearing the midpoint between the 50 and the 100. So we could place our order to buy maybe on this 50. It's a little shallow, but we could place it here. If it's going to return to the upside, it should return to the upside and give us some pips, right? Because this is a wide open trend. But if not, maybe it would continue down closer to our 100. If it drops below the 100, we could take this order that would be sitting here on the 50 and improve it to the 100. Now that's only if it's still pending, not if it executes. If it executes, you can't slide it around, obviously, because that's just where your order is. But if you, if it doesn't execute and it's still a pending order, then you can just slide it down on your chart. Pound yen, same scenario, only we've pulled back now to 50, to the 100. So our entry order could be placed here on this 50. Right now, the 50 sits at 139.38, 388, right? So we could be placing our buy order here on the 50. Now you can see where the rate is at right now. If it wants to continue to go down, it can. And if it gives the opportunity to improve that market order, not market order, that pending order to this 100 moving average, then great. There's close to a 30 pip difference between the two, right? So right now it looks like 139.08 would be the value of 100. So we're going to see if the rate drops even further below that, and then we can improve that order to our 100 moving average. Pound US, we see that the pound US kind of fell down today. It got a little bit deeper pullback than some others. We're still above our 720, however. So where we would have had the opportunity to buy would have been on this 100 or maybe on this 50, because the rate came down here and was headed towards our 200. So it was well below our 100, right? So now it's kind of gone up back to the 100. The 50 is kind of sitting there. If we're placing any type of order, I would say we'd have to have a buy here on our 50 level moving average, which is 132.27. But we're really, really close to that area right now, but we'd have to place our order there. That's it for our pound pairs. Let's go check out the euro and see kind of what happened with the euro. So I'm going to be on the euro Aussie right now. The euro Aussie is a little bit different. You can see way up here, we've got our 720 going on. So we've had this move to the downside. We've been in a downward trend for a minute here with the euro Aussie. And so our moving averages are all in order pretty much to the downside. We've got a little bit of a pullback going on now. However, it didn't pull back yet past our 50. So we're waiting for a deeper pullback to the 50 or to the 100, and then we can place our order to the downside. Euro CAD, a little bit different because we are below our 720. However, we've pulled back here almost to the 200. We're kind of headed towards the 200 right now. So we've got the ability to place our short order here on the 100 or on the 50, or maybe this 21. We can use any of these moving averages that are below the rate currently right now for a short. So if this continues in a downward trend, or we get that, we get a downward push, then that should pick us up and place us in the order. Euro Swiss is a little bit different because it's on the other side, right? So we're on above our 720, right, which is out here. We've got this wide open, beautiful trend that we set up, but now we've pulled back past it, right? So yesterday we pulled down here even past the 100. So our opportunity even now would be to have our order be on this 50. So if we get a head of steam back in the direction of trend, then we would jump up above, this 50, and that, it should continue on creating higher highs. So that would be the opportunity for the Euro Swiss. As far as the Euro Pound, we've got a different scenario because we're below our 720. Our moving averages are pretty much in order to the downside here. So we're still waiting on pullbacks here. The rate is just a little bit past the 50 here in blue right now. So it's just a little bit above that. If it continued on any further up, then I would short here on that 50. As far as the euro yen goes, we're trading above our 720. And our rate has pulled back deeper past our 100. So right now, our opportunity to buy would be on this 100 or on this 50 to be a little bit more conservative with the rate that we get in at. So we would place our buy orders here. And then with the rate, if it picks us up, then we should have some momentum to the upside as we're above our 720. Euro New Zealand flip-flops to the other side. We're below our 720. We've got full mature trend to the downside. All the moving averages are still in order. We still haven't gotten a real deep pullback here. We had a little bit of one early in the day yesterday. That was due to the New Zealand rate announcement news. The official rate for New Zealand was announced. So we did get a brief pullback here to the 100, but since then, we've still kind of stayed outside of our 21 here. So we really haven't pulled back. So I think we're kind of due for a pullback at this point in time. So we may see a pullback maybe at least to the 50 here as traders kind of decide which direction they want to go from here. As far as the Euro US, a little bit different scenario here. What I see is that the rate is sitting right here, just about right on top of the 720. I mean, it's a little bit above it, but it's right on top of it. We traded a little bit below the 720 earlier today. I thought that we'd have a little bit more downside, but we didn't quite get it. And now we've rebounded back to the 720. So the option here, or the to buy, would be our optimal position. So maybe to buy here on the 50 would have been appropriate. We could have, be a little more conservative and buy maybe here on the 100 or the 200 as our entry point. So these are going to be our pending order areas here. So if you want it to be close to it, you could put it here on the 50. I think that's a little bit close for me, or because it's so close to our 720. I'd step it out here. I'd step it up and put it out here maybe on this 100. So because if it's going to really move in that direction, then our expectation is that it's going to surpass these moving averages and they'll get back in order to the upside like they were back here on about the 6th or so. Between the 5th and the 6th, they kind of created this trend to the upside and became a mature trend to the upside. So if this is just a pullback against that for just a brief pullback, then we should be able to eclipse these 100 and the 200 levels pretty easily. And that gives you some time to actually set that trade. You don't have to go and set it right away, because you've got time. As far as the Aussie CAD, we can see that we're trading well above our 720, right? We've got a full mature trend to the upside. We had a pullback yesterday past the 100 here. So we pulled back past this moving average. So the opportunity would have been to place this order on the 50 at that time, and then we would have been profitable on that trade for sure. So we'll be waiting on a deeper pullback again, and we'll see what occurs here, because we kind of went up to the high so far, and then we'll see if this continues to move higher or if it pulls back for us. As far as the Aussie yen, we are here trading well above our 720. We've got the mature trend to the upside. All of the moving averages are on this side of the 720. So we're getting a pullback now. We've got a pullback almost to the 100. So we can drop our order to buy here on the 50, maybe where this 50 and 21 reside. It's kind of in this 76, 72 area to buy. And then, if we want, and this the rate moves down past the 100, we can improve our order to the 100 once the rate drops well below that 100, enough to give us room to allow the market to continue down or to go back into trend. Whereas the Aussie New Zealand, we've got this nice mature trend to the downside. Our rate is well below our 720. All the moving averages are in order to the downside. This has been a pretty steady trade for us. And right now it's just a really legit trend to the downside, full mature trend. We're waiting for pullbacks past the 50 or past the 100 here. So we've got to be patient with this. We haven't gotten it. This was one of those trades that was reacting last night to the New Zealand rate news as well. So it's still kind of got that same momentum going on. As far as the Aussie US, we're trading above our 720, right? And what I see right now is that we're sitting now on the moving averages. They're kind of all kind of stuck together here. We're above our 200. So there's not really room for us to place an order here. There was a little bit here earlier today because we did trade down here to the 200. See if I can get away from that. Okay, good. We did trade down here to about the 200 or so. So we could have bought on the 100 or on this 50, and we had the opportunity to be at least a little bit profitable so far. But if this goes back into the trend and really, starts to emulate the trend that it's in, it should go ahead and take us higher. And we've got a lot of room to these two peaks. We got one peak here and we've got one peak here. So as we go forward, we may be able to jump up past those levels or even meet those levels, and from here we'd be definitely very successful as far as the trade being profitable. Now, as far as the CAD yen, we've got a pullback past our 100, right? So that's the first thing I noticed. I also noticed we're above our 720. So our penchant is to buy. So we're above our 720. We've pulled back now past the 100. So our buy order would go here on the 100. We can either use the 21 or the 50, just depending on where you want to put it. Here as well for our buy pending orders. Our 50 sits at 80.72. Our 21 sits at 80.68. So it's just a little bit of improvement in price. The 100 here is sitting here at 80.65. So there's a couple of pips really between the two, between the three moving averages. Just depends on how conservative you want to be when you place that pending order. All right. As far as the Swiss yen, we've been getting a lot of consolidation here, even though we've been getting this movement up and down. It's just a small range that we've been trading in. We've kind of got a nice floor going on here, but then our highs are coming down. So this is kind of what I see here. I'll go ahead and draw that for you real quick. Our low bottom is kind of occupying where our 720 sits, and then our highs are kind of doing like this. Almost going into like a pennant formation, right? So this is what I see. We're kind of going down into this point here, and I think that out of here, we're going to pop out and have some strength, one direction or another. Typically, when it squeezes itself in like this, and especially coming off a holiday, there's going to be some movement in just a moment. We're not the only ones who will see this. There are going to be other traders that are going to see that movement happening and that squeeze kind of happening here. And the expectation is that this will pop out and give us some real movement in one direction or another. So we're really close right now to our 720 as far as the rate goes. If I'm doing anything then above the rate, I'd be buying maybe here on this 100 just to be conservative. That sits at about 115 exactly. So if the market moves up here to 115, then my expectation or hope would be that it would continue on. But this is so close, I wouldn't blame you if you walk away from that particular opportunity, because there's so many other ones that, may be setting up, and they're not maybe in this situation where it's squeezing so close. All the moving averages so close together here. But the idea is that maybe it'll, once it squirts out of this move, this tightening here, once it squirts out of there, then we're going to get some direction and we should have some real opportunities after that. Still fairly early in the week. I guess, it's going to be Thursday, right? Yep, because Wednesday's already passed. It seems like we just started again, right? But I can't believe that we've done, this many shows already since then. But wow, so it's going into Thursday. There's still a lot of time left in the market, still got 2 days to go. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us here. So keep your eyes on the charts. And the ideas that you see here should come to fruition, and you could see where you can profit at. This week has been very good to us, even with the holiday today. So just keep your eyes open. There are definitely some opportunities to trade. So I want to encourage you, if you are going through the online education, I want to encourage you to continue to do that. For those individuals who don't know where it is, you can get it right here under the course catalog on the website. That'll take you right to the course itself. If you're subscribed to one of our softwares, or you're subscribed to our service, then you will have access to this course catalog, and you can take the course. For Forex trading, it's just that foundation knowledge that you need before you begin trading. And going through that, it's going to open your eyes to several things that maybe you're not even aware of that you need to know about. And then, it's going to really give you that foundation going forward, so you know what you're talking about, you know what terminology we're using, and why we're using that particular terminology. So even as you go through the course, anything that you finish, you can go back and relook at too. So once you've completed that section, you can go back and look at those, look at the course and say, oh, okay, I understood this one way, but maybe, Derek said this. So let me go back and read it again, because maybe I'm not understanding. So you actually will always have the ability to go back and look at the course itself as well. So I want to wish everybody a great night of trading. I think it should be eventful for us as the markets get to open again, and then the fundamental news starts to kick in again today. It should be interesting. So once again, my name is Derek for iLi Academy. I thank you for attending our show tonight, and we'll see you in the morning on the Daily Market Overview. Ciao.